This lesson, we're going to be using shared data sets in our report. I'm going to show you how to use more than one data set in your report. Let's start off by looking at our tables. We have the sales.salesperson table, person.person table, and we have common attributes between the business entity ID columns in both tables. Let's go ahead and begin our report. Right click report, add new item. And we're just going to title this report Lookup Report, because the function that we're going to be using is the lookup function to achieve this. Let's grab our data source, and it's going to be AdventureWorks 2012. We're going to be using our local instance. Let's connect to our local instance with a period. Drop down AdventureWorks 2012. Let's test the connection. Okay, everything's great. Let's just make sure we stay connected through our Windows authentication instead of SQL Server authentication. Okay. Let's grab our first data set, which is person.person, and we're going to name it person. AdventureWorks 2012, and select all from person.person. And it's always best practice to just bring in the columns you need instead of select all. But for this exercise, we're just going to use select all. And let's grab our second data set, which is going to be the salesperson table. We're using the same data source, and we're just going to select all from person, sales dot sales person. Now we have our two data sets. Let's just go ahead and grab a table. Insert table. Let's expand this a little bit. All right, let's grab our sales year to date, our territory ID, and our sales last year. Let's create another column to the right. So right click the top of the column, click insert column, and select which side you want it to be on. We want ours to be on the right side, so we're going to select right. And we want to click down here in the row, right click, go to where it says expression. And this is how you add from another data set. Because if you were to, let's say, grab the first name column in the person data set and try to slide it over here, it would reject it and give you an error message. But I'm going to show you how to circumvent that, and we're going to add the first name right here in this column right here. So let's and the function that we're going to be using to do this is the lookup function, this right here. And essentially what the lookup function does is it compares values between columns, and it returns values based on matches. You'll see what I mean by in a second. So let's go to our fields, because primarily our table is consisting of values columns from the salesperson table. So let's go ahead and begin our lookup. The two columns that we're going to be using for this are going to be the business entity ID in the person table, and the business entity ID in a salesperson table. These two columns are going to produce our matches. So let's start with the local one, the one local to our data set, which is business entity ID. So right here, and click this twice. All right, so business entity ID, and we want to look up against the other business entity ID. So fields, exclamation, business entity ID, dot dot value, comma, and the column we want to bring in is first name from the person table. So fields, exclamation, first name, dot. For some reason, it did that. It like auto corrected, but you can always go back and first name. Okay. Yeah, it'll do that, but you just have to go back and correct it. It does this like autocorrect type of thing. All right, so we want to return our first name value, column values, when we have a match between the business entity ID columns from both tables. And our data set that we're bringing in, we have to specify it. So at the end, comma, double quotes, person. That is the name of our it's the name of our table, but it's also the name of our data set. And we want to put in the name of our data set at the end. And comma, um, close parentheses. Okay. And we have our lookup function properly configured. Okay. So we're bringing in the values, but we don't have a title. So you can see right here, you can see that we brought in the values for the first name column, but we didn't bring in the title. Well, you can't see it yet because my computer's still processing, but as you can see, we brought in the values, just we don't have a column name. And that's the easiest part of this. You just click right here on the column and type it in. First name. Preview. Okay. As you can see, we have a column name and we have the column values. So that is how you would join two data sets in your report. Thank you.